Welcome to Central Online. We are so glad that you're joining us this weekend. Our experience is about an hour long, and today we have a great one in store for you. Hey, joining on demand is awesome, but did you know that every Sunday we go live at 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time? You can join us live at centralonline.tv/media. We have a whole Central family just ready to interact with you throughout the entire experience, and we have a lot more special moments that happen during our live experience. And if you'd like to be a part of that Central family, it's really simple. You can head on over to centralonline.tv/online experience. By joining the Central family, you'll not only get access to graphics and information to share all over your social media, but access to an amazing community as well. And while you're at it, be sure to share this experience with your friends and family wherever you're watching from. And if you'd like to stay up to date on all things Central and whenever we go live, subscribe to our YouTube channel now. Well, it looks like the experience is about to begin, so for now, let's get ready for Central Online.
Welcome to Church Central. Let's get our hands up and clap. We're going to do a new song today, so let's keep those hands going and let's sing this out.
There's no hiding from your grace. I can't deny your heart for mine, and it's unrelenting chase. I was on the edge of deception, caught up in my own hesitation, until your love took over me. So I let go and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be. An oasis here awaits us, only freedom I'll ever need. Now I'm alive. When I let go, then I felt life. When I let go, then I felt life.
Let's sing the higher way. Come on.
The higher way is calling me to a life unlike before. The Father's heart is beckoning, and I can't resist no more. Lead me in the ways of devotion. I don't wanna get caught in emotions. My heart is only for you, Lord. So I let go and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be. An oasis here awaits us, only freedom I'll ever need. Now I'm alive. Oh, when I let go, then I felt life. When I let go, then I found life.
All right, this part's just going to be our hands. Let's get them up. We're going to sing I Let Go. Let's sing this out.
So I let go and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be. An oasis here awaits us, only freedom I'll ever need.
Central family. Here we go.
The earth is shaking, the mountains shifting like sand. You are moving. The oceans dancing, the waves are crashing on down. You are moving. Here we go. You shake the earth like a hurricane of grace. Come and sweep our hearts away. Let your power fill this place.
Get ready to shout. Here we go.
You shake the earth like a million voices shout. You shout like everyone singing out. You shake the earth. You shake the earth. Our hope is rising. Our faith is growing in truth. You are moving. Our hearts are breaking. Our hands are reaching to you. Lift them up, come on. 'Cause you are moving, yeah. Shake the earth like a hurricane of grace. Come and sweep our hearts away. Let your power fill this place. You shake the earth like a million voices shout. Like everyone singing out. You shake the earth. You shake the earth. Come on.
What's up, everyone? My name's Erin and I serve as an online host here at Central. Hey, if it's your first time joining us, I want to say welcome and let you know that Central is a place where it's okay to not be okay. That simply means you can come as you are, you belong, and we are so glad that you're joining us here. This weekend, we are wrapping up our series, Do You Even Lift? It's been awesome, a great way to kick off the new year, and if you missed out on any of those weekends, you can go back and watch the full experience on our website at centralonline.tv. Here at Central, we are all about stories of life change. Check out Jessica's story.
Back when I was 5 years old, during that time, I was molested by my grandmother's boyfriend at the time. I would look at kids in the playground and I would notice just how they had a childlike innocence that I could never have because I had it taken away from me. I was baptized because I knew that he was the only one who was able to love me when I felt unloved. And regardless of those flaws and imperfections and impurities, he loved me still. And he was the father that I felt like I never had. When I opened up about being molested at the age of 5, my dad stepped out of the picture. And once again, I felt abandoned. And then in high school, I was just very depressed because I felt alone. I was in denial. I had to be the happy, bubbly girl that everyone went to when they were in pain or when they were sad or when they just needed a good laugh. And as good as it felt, I I didn't know at the moment, but that was hurting me. During those difficult moments and those hardships, I didn't know that God was present during every moment. I was a believer, but I just didn't fully understand. It just didn't click for me. So a really good friend of mine had started a Bible study group, and through her love and support and mentorship, I rededicated my life to Christ, and I decided that I wasn't gonna live the way that I used to. I wasn't going to seek validation from others, that I was going to live my life for Christ. I felt like I had a place in this world, that God was not done with me yet. You are beautiful, you are loved, you are wanted, and that is all given to you through the love and through the grace of God.
Well, we've come to a time in our experience where we have the privilege and opportunity to give back to God financially, just a portion of everything He's blessed us with through our tithes and our offerings. If you'd like to give today, it's really simple. You can visit centralonline.tv/give, and when you do, be sure to check the online location. Well, as an online community, one of the best ways we can share so much hope is by sharing this experience with our friends and family. By clicking the share button, you could be touching so many hearts and lives and introducing people to Jesus, maybe for the first time ever. So we ask you guys just to share this experience and maybe be praying for that one friend that you would like to invite to church with you, whether that's coming and joining us at a location or maybe watching online together again. We want to say thank you guys so much for your generosity and spreading all of this hope and touching so many people's hearts and lives. Will you pray with me? God, thank you so much just for the resources to honor you, God, and to serve you, God. I pray through this time of offering that you would not only bless our hearts and tug on our hearts, but also tug on the hearts of others and bless others, and help us know that as we give these gifts, God, as we share this experience, we are going to touch so many different people's lives and help them introduce them to you. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. Let's continue in our experience.
What can reach my wandering soul? What can break the chains I hold? What can rescue me and bring me home? Only you, only love can. What can open eyes to see? What completes the Son would die, my debt is paid, His glory stands. What sets me free? Only love can. What sets me free? Only love can. What sets me free? Only love can. Can't go back to the beginning. Can't control what tomorrow will bring. But I know here in the middle is the place where you promised to be. Not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? As I walk now through the valley, let your love rise above every fear, like the sun shaping the shadow. In my weakness, your glory appears. Would you sing this out with us? Come on. I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? We 'Cause all I want, sing it out, is all you are. Will you meet? I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? God, right here in this very room today, Lord, broken, hurting, flawed, messed up individuals, we come before you. And Lord, we just pray that you would just take us just as we are. Lord, that we wouldn't have to feel like we come in church to get it all right, Lord, but that we can ultimately come in here a mess, God, and that you make this your mess. So I lift up any person in this room today, God, who's broken and hurting. I just pray, Lord, that you would just overwhelm them with your peace, with your hope. God, help us to just experience prosperity, joy, a future that we could never experience apart from you. So Holy Spirit, we invite you into this room today. God, we just ask that you would meet us right here where we're at. God, help us. For it's in your name we pray. Unless you come, will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? Not for a minute was I forsaken. The Lord is in this place. Come on. The Lord is in this place. Come, Holy Spirit, dry bones awaken. The Lord is in this place. Not for a minute was I forsaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Come, Holy Spirit, dry bones awaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Central family, if you love worshiping together, I want you to know right here at Central Henderson on February 27th at 7 p.m., we're gonna have a Central Live night of worship. I hope that you'll be here for that. We take communion together. It's one of the most important things that we do in our walk, just to remember all that Christ did for us on the cross. So I hope you'll join us on February 27th. This weekend, we're concluding in our series, Do You Even Lift? Pastor Judd has an amazing message for us, so you can be seated now as he comes to share his message.
Well, welcome everybody. Nice to see you guys. Want to welcome all of our locations. Great to have you guys with us. Big shout out to Summerlin and Southern Highlands, Sunrise Mountain, to our Kingman family, to those joining us online and those joining us in different prison facilities around the country in our partnership with God Behind Bars. Welcome, you guys. We're glad you're here. Well, we are wrapping up our teaching series this week, Do You Even Lift?, which is really all about making spiritual and personal gains as we go in to a new year. And it's important, I think, because we all go through times in our life where we feel stuck, just stuck. I mean, how many of you say, you remember a time where you just felt stuck? You know, I remember when I was in high school, I had my first car was an old Buick Skylark that my sister used to drive, and it got handed down to me. And as soon as I got the car, I thought I was like the coolest kid in my peer group because I had a car and a lot of them didn't. And so after school one day in high school, we headed out and we were driving down some back roads, and I thought, I'm gonna show these guys how cool I am. I'm gonna show them how fast I can go in reverse. And so I threw the car in reverse, and you know, I'm going as fast as I can, and I'm just driving, just looking through the rearview mirror like I don't even need to look back. You know, I'm James Bond. And I didn't realize that the road came to a T. It came to a direct kind of dead end, and another road crossed this way, and I didn't even see it, and we went flying off of that road right into this massive ditch. It actually bent the back of that Buick Skylark up. I mean, I was in trouble. I was stuck. And it didn't matter how much I pushed the gas, how much the tires spun, they were elevated up off the ground on the backside of the ditch, and it wasn't going anywhere, you know? And my friends and I are all looking at each other, and I'm thinking, this is not good. And that's what it feels like when you're stuck. The wheels just keep spinning. You aren't sure what to do. Some of you may be stuck right now in a relational situation. You may be stuck at work. You may feel like you're stuck with your health. You just feel like you're stuck. Our bulldog, Roxy, she's stuck right now. She's coming up on 12 years old. She's, you know, not a spring chicken anymore, and she's having some continence issues. She's, you know, it's really not good. And so this week she got a new surprise. I'll show it to you on the screen here. This is my little Roxy with her new addition to her wardrobe. Yes, that is a doggy diaper. And yes, you will make that investment when your dog starts going to the bathroom all over the place. You can only wash their bed so many times till you're like, do they make like diapers? Anyway, she's trying to adjust to a situation where she feels stuck. Now, some things you can't change, right? Some things you feel stuck and there's nothing you can do, but other things you can. And we've been asking God over the last several weeks for the wisdom to kind of know the difference and then to attack some things that we can change in our lives. Now, for me to get unstuck, I needed some help. We've been talking the last several weeks about what it means for us to get unstuck in different ways. We've talked about willpower and how that isn't enough. We need more than just willpower. We need God power working in our life. And we looked at some different pieces of the puzzle that can help us change. We'll bring them up on the screen here. Talked about want power, the desire to change, friend power. Look, you can't live your best life with the wrong friends. Friends are very important to helping us move forward. We talked about habit power. It's better to win small than to lose big. If we make small adjustments and changes in our life, it can have a huge impact. And then today I want to talk about just grit power, the power to see it through. Now, I needed all of those to get out of the ditch when I was in high school. First of all, I already had want power. I wanted to get out of that ditch because I knew if we didn't get that car out of the ditch, in some way or another, a parental unit would get involved. And if a parental unit got involved, that would mean I wouldn't be driving my car very much longer, right? So all my friends, we all got out of the car and we put our minds together. And together we kind of got a little plan. We were going to rock the car back and forth. I was going to be in the driver's seat with the door open, pushing it. We're just go a little bit up and then back and then up and then back. And eventually we got the thing going. And with some friend power and some want power and some grit power, we got out of the ditch. And I tell you that story because I know some of you feel like you're in a ditch right now. I know you feel like you're stuck and the wheels are spinning and you aren't sure there's any way to get out of this ditch. But listen to me, your ditch is not your destiny. It's not your destiny. And God can do a work in your life, if you'll allow him, that will help you begin to get traction and move forward into the life he's calling you to live. I have one big idea today, and it's simply this, that your setbacks can become your set-ups for your comeback. Your setbacks can become your set-ups for your comeback. We all have setbacks. We all find ourselves in the ditch, but we don't have to stay in the ditch in our lives. So in this teaching series, we've been looking at Romans chapter 12. I want to go back there with you today. Romans chapter 12, beginning in verse 12. The way we do it here at Central, we'll bring it up on the side screen. I'll read it. When we get to the red word, I'm just going to ask you to read it out loud, real loud here with me. Romans chapter 12, beginning in verse 12. Paul says, rejoice in our confident what? Hope. In our confident hope. He says, be patient in trouble and keep on praying. When God's people are in need, be ready to help them. Always be eager to practice hospitality. All throughout the Romans chapter 12, Paul started and he says, therefore, in view of God's mercy, which is really a reference back to the earlier chapters in Romans, and really the whole case that he's been making in Romans, that we've been justified by faith, that Christ has died on a cross in our stead so that we could be forgiven and free. Romans chapter 8, there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, that we've been given God's Spirit, that we're his sons and his daughters. And he finally gets all the way up to chapter 12 and he goes, therefore, in light of all these things, and then he says, give your body as a living sacrifice. Remember this? And then we go on in Romans chapter 12, and towards the end, he's going to get super practical now. He's going to give us all these kind of basic practical things to do, and it all sort of anchors in this idea, rejoice in hope. Rejoice in your hope. When things get hard, when you feel stuck, when you feel like your wheels are spinning, what can you do? One of the most powerful things you can do is continue to rejoice in your confident hope. And so I'd word it this way. Picture your better future. Picture your better future in your life. I saw some kids, they were asked the question of what their future would be like, and so they wrote down some responses. Some of these were classic. Let's check this out. We'll bring the first one up here. One kid says this, 100-year-old me. When I'm 100, I will play Uno with my grandchildren. I will wear a sweater all of the time. Come on. I'll take naps every day. I will take my wife to Pizza Hut for dinner. Yes. Sounds better to me all the time, right? All right, here, let's bring up another one. This person said, someday, if I get a boyfriend, if I ever get a boyfriend, I might let my parents come on the date, but they have to sit far away from us. That might happen because I might not get a boyfriend. And I can tell you with a daughter who just turned 18, I'm all for the not getting a boyfriend. All right, here's the next one. Graham, he says this, what will you be doing when you're 100 years old? Look at this, breaking out of my tomb. Gotta love the spirit, right? Breaking out of my tomb. There's something powerful that happens in our lives when we picture a better future. My friend, Pastor David Hughes, he's spoken here many times at Central. If you haven't heard him yet, you will. He's a great, incredible communicator. But I was with him in Florida this last year. He's really a gym rat. Guy he's worked out like every day of his life, or at least regularly for the last 20 or 30 years, right? So he takes me to his gym, and it's this kind of ratty, pumping iron sort of gym. You know, it's not like really nice, high-end gym or anything. This one's just sort of not. If you go in and all these old weight machines and free weights are all crammed in this space, and we're working out together, and he points my attention to the screens, and on the screens with no audio, it's just the visual, they're playing the old 1970s documentary Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Remember this? Some of you are like, no, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Well, I didn't either. But it's just, and I said, so is this just on randomly? He goes, no, 24/7. When the gym is open, Pumping Iron runs on the screen. Just Pumping Iron. And so I thought, why would you do that? Why would you have these Lou Ferrigno and Schwarzenegger? Why would you have these incredible weightlifters on a screen in front of you in dated video all the time? And it dawns on me as I'm sitting there doing curls with this little bitty weight with my little skinny arms, right? I get to look up and there's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's doing curls just like me, and he's doing them with weights 5 times more than I am, right? And his arm is huge, and if I look up at him long enough, I start to believe if I do this every day, I could look like that. I could be the Terminator. right? That and a couple $100,000 worth of human growth hormone, but let's not go into that whole side of thing, you know? Like, it's gonna take way more than a protein shake, people. What are they trying to do, though? They're trying to show us a different future, and by looking at that different future, you're inspired then to go after it. And the Bible is constantly challenging us to remember our hope. Remember the hope that you have. Look, the Bible teaches as a follower of Jesus that our ultimate home is in heaven. And heaven is really defined by the presence of God in a powerful and kind of ultimate way in our lives. Heaven is a place where there'll be no more suffering, no more crying, no more tears, no more dying. And we're to look forward to that. That's the place what we really will call home. And we shouldn't expect to feel like we're home here when home is really there. Home is where God and His Spirit ultimately move and work in our lives. We get to taste it a little bit now. We have God's Spirit within us. We have Him working in our lives. But that's where our hope really is. And we got to hang on to that hope. We got to rejoice in it, especially when things get hard. Sometimes God allows us to go through setbacks. And sometimes those setbacks are really hard. It's like working out. When I work out and I go through leg day, how many of you do leg day? You know what I'm talking about? You ever do leg day? Okay. Man, after leg day, you would think after working out for a while consistently and all that, doing leg day, that you would be strong, right? But after leg day, my first thought when I walk up to the stairs in my house is, am I gonna be able to make it up these stairs? Right? You've been down to load the dishwasher? Come on, somebody, you know what I'm talking about? What are you thinking? Am I gonna be able to stand up? Right? Because when you work those muscles out, they break down. And you got to break them down before they can be built back up and be strong again. And that's how setbacks can work in our lives. Sometimes God allows us to face some tough setbacks, but if we allow Him, they can break us down so that He can build us back up. Listen, the breakdown precedes the breakthrough. So, you try to change something in your life, you go after something, you get friend power working in your corner and want power, and God's power and grit power and habit power. But the challenge is as you start moving forward, sometimes it can feel harder before it gets easier, right? Sometimes you got to go through that breakdown to get to the breakthrough. And what keeps you going in those moments is you got to hang on to your confident hope. You just got to keep rejoicing. He says, not only hang on to your confident hope, remember what he said? He says, keep on praying. Prayer is a way that you can visualize a better future in your life. Not only the ultimate future God has, but also for other things that you're praying for and asking God to do in your life. He says, keep on praying. Keep on holding on to faith. Rejoice in your confident hope. Rejoice in the fact that God forgave you and worked in your life. Rejoice in the fact that God showed up and God rescued you when no one else was around. Remember the fact that God did it before and He can do it again. Remember that He was with you and for you when nobody else was. Remember that He was moving in your life when you didn't even understand who He was. Remember that He fills you with joy and good things in your life. He provides for you. He takes care of you. Walk in His promises. Rejoice in it every day. And in my own life, I've seen just rejoicing in that hope kind of get me out of the ditch, get me moving forward again, get me believing and trusting. Here's another thought if we want to see our setbacks really become setups for our comeback, and that is to not only rejoice in our confident hope by picturing a better future, but something that I would call hug the cactus. Sometimes we just gotta hug the cactus. Mel Gibson was a guy that, was sort of couldn't do any wrong in Hollywood for a lot of years, made The Passion of the Christ, made millions and millions of dollars. And then some of you will remember, he had this drunken moment where he made all these racial slurs and other things. He got into all kinds of a mess and just kind of his life blew up. And he became, for a season, like the most despised guy in all of Hollywood. And one of the things that I loved was this speech years ago that Robert Downey Jr. gave at the height of Mel Gibson's, I should say the low point of his popularity. Robert Downey Jr. stood up in front of this group. He had asked Mel Gibson to present the award to him in front of all of these Hollywood elites. And that was the only way Mel Gibson was ever going to get to stand up and address them. And then he stands up to get this award, and he says, when I was trying to get sober, Mel Gibson was the person who came along in my life and told me to lean into my faith. And he told me if I was willing to hug the cactus, I might become a man. If I was willing to do the hard things, I might actually get clean and get sober. And he went on to say he gave me a job when nobody else would give me a job. He put food on my table when nobody else would put food on my table. And he ended this little speech by saying, look, I think Mel's hugged the cactus long enough, and it's time to offer forgiveness. I love that image because when we think about moving forward, we don't often think about the pain that sometimes can be involved in really healing. I mean, this past week, I fell down the stairs at our house. Any of you ever fallen down the stairs? Come on, that's an old man, old woman move, right? Isn't that what, I'm like, oh, how can this happen, right? I fell down the stairs. But our stairs are like tiled, you know, and so I was at the top of the stairs. I had coffee in one hand. I was wearing socks. Won't be doing that again. And before I even got on the stairs, I started to slip, and I started to run backwards. You know what I'm talking about? And then it just went downhill from there. It was like, you know when you're skiing and you like totally fall and it's crazy and you know your skis are going over here and this ski's going over there and you know you got headphones that are over here, your phone's over there, everything goes everywhere. They call it yard sailing. I yard sailed down the stairs, coffee in the air, splashing on the wall, shattering on the ground. My wife comes around the corner. I caught myself on my elbows on one of the steps. I mean, it was a hard fall. I had the air knocked out of me. And I'm just sitting there, and she says, are you okay, right? It's like when you're choking. Are you okay? Right? You know, it's like, really? She says, are you okay? You know what I said? I could hardly talk. I couldn't even breathe. I'm like, I'm okay. And then she asked me again, right? This is what we do when you love someone. Are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. She says, are you okay? I'm like, stop asking me if I'm okay. I have no idea if I'm okay or not. No lie, it's exactly what I said. And I'm like, just give me a minute. I actually sat there for 30 minutes. I kept thinking, I broke something. Something is broke. I'm just waiting for it to show up, you know? And I finally got up. My ego was wounded. I walked a little crooked for a few days. Couldn't really turn my neck. But other than that, no problems. But that's how we often deal with pain, right? We go through pain in our lives, and as soon as it happens, what do we say? I'm okay, right? I talk to people, their family blows up. They go through a divorce. It hasn't even ended yet. How you doing? I'm okay. I'm okay, right? You get fired, you get let go at work, you get transitioned at work, and in the pain, oh, how you doing? I'm okay, I'm okay. I mean, that's our knee-jerk reaction. I'm okay, but often we have no idea if we're okay or not, right? Because it just takes a little while to kind of sit on the steps after the fall, if you will, to say like, am I okay? And what do I need to do to become okay? And one of the things that we can do in our lives is hug the cactus. I've got a big cactus up here. Doesn't this look nice? Can you imagine just giving this a nice big hug? That would hurt. That would be awful. There would be blood. But you know, sometimes from a spiritual standpoint, hugging the cactus, so to speak, can be one of the most powerful things we do. When you hug the cactus, here's what I mean. I mean, you get serious about the interior stuff in your life. Hugging the cactus may mean going to counseling. Hugging the cactus may mean forgiving somebody in your life that you really are enjoying holding on to anger and bitterness towards, right? Hugging the cactus in recovery, we talk about, you know, you're only as sick as your secrets. And so hugging the cactus may mean getting honest about some things that you've been keeping secret. Hugging the cactus may mean trying to make amends with those that you've hurt in your life. Hugging the cactus may mean going back from an interior standpoint and starting to work through and deal with some things that happened in your childhood, some things that you went through in the home you grew up in. Why? You want to deal with those things so that you don't continue those things, right? You want to let God transform your pain so that you don't transfer your pain to others. You want to hug the cactus so that you don't just make others hug your cactus, right? And it's hard, right? It's not a lot of fun, but it can be so powerful. Look at what Paul says in Romans chapter 12, beginning in verse 14. Romans chapter 12, 14, he says, bless those who persecute you. That sounds a lot like hugging the cactus to me. Bless those who persecute you. Don't curse them. Pray that God will what? Bless them. Pray that God will bless them. Then he goes forward. He says, be happy with those who are happy. That's easy. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with each other. Don't be too proud to enjoy the company of ordinary people. And don't think you know it all. Love how Paul's just so practical here. But he's talking about blessing people that have hurt you, blessing people that have persecuted you, that have discriminated against you. Probably in the context of Romans, he's thinking if they've persecuted you for your faith or for your beliefs, people can persecute you for a whole lot of different reasons. And he's saying, what do you do with those people? He's saying, you bless them. Even though they may do harm to you, you bless them. You pray that God will bless them. That sounds a lot like hugging the cactus. But I can tell you, if you've been hurt and you've been damaged, nothing will hold you in a setback as strong as unforgiveness. Unforgiveness will keep you stuck. And many of us, we're not going to break free until we begin that process of forgiveness. Look, it's not about the person that you need to forgive. It's about you. It's about me letting go of some things so that we can be free, so that we can let our setback become a setup for our comeback. Listen, God has a plan in your life and in mine. He has a plan. He's working. He's moving. So wherever you're at, whatever you're going through right now in your life, maybe a guy or a girl broke your heart and you can't see a way forward right now. I went through that. I had an experience where somebody broke my heart and we were going to get married. It was going to be amazing. And then this whole thing fell apart. I lost 20 pounds. I was an absolute train wreck. But man, am I glad I went through that setback. Because I look back at it now and realize that was just a setup for God to do some things in my heart that I desperately needed. Because one day this girl named Lori was going to come walking by. Hey, what's up? The setback was a setup for the comeback, right? But I had to see it that way. I had to do the hard work. I had to let God grow me into being a more mature, less selfish man before Lori was ever going to lay eyes on me. Maybe you had a dream, and that dream ultimately hasn't worked out. It collapsed. It didn't go the way you thought it would go, and you're frustrated and you're upset. Listen, I had some dreams that didn't go the way I thought they would go as well. That's just part of being human. But the good news today is I look back now, and I'm so glad God didn't honor those dreams because he gave me other dreams, and he'll give you other dreams because the setback is just a setup. Let him in there to do the work in your life. Let him work and forgive and heal and do what only he can do so that you're ready for the comeback when God brings it around. Hug the cactus if you want your setback to be a setup for a comeback. Third idea is this: just keep doing good. Just keep doing good. Look at what Paul says in these very next verses in Romans chapter 12, beginning in verse 17. He says, never pay back evil with more evil. Do things in such a way that everyone can see you're honorable. Do all that you can to live in peace with everyone. Dear friends, never take revenge. Leave that to the righteous anger of God. Look at this. I love this. Don't let evil conquer you, but what? Conquer. You see that? Conquer evil by doing good. That's a pretty sweet job description. What do? I conquer evil. How do you do it? I conquer evil by doing good. You see that? I conquer evil by doing good. Look, evil is in our world. I mean, you look at the news, you look at people's responses to one another on social media. You look at the fact that the Patriots are going to another Super Bowl. Evil is in our world. But it's not the final story. One day, God will deal with it ultimately. And until then, our job is to push back on the evil in our world by doing good, right? By being kind, by showing through our actions what God has done for us. This past year, I got to have lunch with a powerful civil rights leader from the 60s all the way through to today, Dr. Robert Greene. As I was having lunch with him and just learning from him and listening, I said, tell me some stories that just stand out to you. He had marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and some of the early marches. I said, tell me some stories from kind of that time. And he said, well, one of the most powerful things I've ever seen in my life. He said, I was in Memphis. I was sitting in the back seat of a car, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was in the passenger seat of the car with the window down, and we were at a gas station. He said, we pulled up at this gas station, and a white man walked up to the car, and he pulled a gun, and he put the gun right in the face of Dr. King, and he called him a slur word, and he said, I'm gonna kill you right here. And he said, I watched Dr. King from the back seat, and he's like, I can see it today. He slowly turned his head, looked the man in the eye, smiled, and said, I love you, brother. And he said the man just stood there, looked at his gun, didn't know what to do, and walked away. He said, that was the day I realized Dr. King was not afraid to die. He was not afraid to die, but he was afraid of people stopping doing good. You got to keep doing good even when people persecute you. You got to keep doing good even when they reject you. You got to keep doing good even when it's hard. You got to keep doing good even when you want to quit. You got to keep doing good when it shouldn't be this hard in your life. You got to keep doing good when you shouldn't have to go uphill both ways. You got to keep doing good when things should have gone differently. That's particularly when you got to keep doing good, because if you keep doing good, your setback can be your setup for your comeback. So friends, wherever you're at in your life, want power, together with friend power, together with habit power, together with grit power, can help us experience change. And if we'll just move forward with an understanding that the setbacks we've been through are setups for our comeback, that look, our struggle and our difficulty and our ditch is not our destiny. Look, our breakdown may be happening right now, but breakdown precedes the breakthrough. God, I'm gonna trust you, I'm gonna follow you, I'm gonna walk in faith and believe that my best days are still to come. I'm gonna rejoice. Even though I may feel stuck right now, I'm gonna rejoice in my confident hope. Friends, if you'll do that, I think it'll have a powerful pull in your life to help you get unstuck. And one of the ways we want to help you do that is through a seminar that we offer here at Central. It's called First Step. First Step is a powerful tool to help you in your life kind of get unstuck and begin to grow spiritually in an incredible way. And so I want to challenge you, if you've never been to First Step, you should have either received a card like this across our locations, or it'll be in the seat back in the front of you, or in the seat that you're currently in. It says Central Church on one side, but the flip side says First Step. Join us at First Step. And it's coming up in a couple weeks. It's a seminar that basically runs congruent to the weekend across our locations. Some locations have a midweek option, but it's a great seminar to sign up for, to just kind of get unstuck in this season of your life, to meet some great people, to have a lot of fun, to learn some fundamentals of what it means to be a follower of Jesus, to learn more about the church and how you can get involved. So if you've never taken First Step, that's a great tool right around the corner. Make sure to grab one of these cards, fill them out. Across our locations, when you leave, you can just drop them in buckets and turn them in that way. And take that step in your life. I think it'll be really, really powerful. For some of you, maybe you've never really crossed the line of faith in your life, and I'd love to just give you that opportunity. I never hardly let a service go by without just giving an opportunity for people to respond if God is moving in your heart and in your life, if he's tapping you on the shoulder. And so if today is your day, if this is your time to be a follower of Jesus, I just encourage you to repeat a simple prayer after me, to just open your heart to God and allow him to move in your life. Would all of you bow your heads and close your eyes? If you'd like to become a follower of Jesus, you can begin that journey by repeating after me. Just say, dear God, I thank you for loving me. Thank you for sending Jesus into the world. I believe he died on the cross for my sins. I believe he rose again. Forgive me for my sins. Give me the gift of eternal life. Help me face the challenges I'm up against. God, I surrender my life to you. Friends, with every head bowed and every eye closed across our locations, wherever you're at today, if that's a spiritual commitment you're making in your life, I just want to ask you to slip your hand in the air, just to acknowledge that you're following God in your life today. Just slip your hand in the air. God, we thank you for each person reaching out to you. I pray you'll show up powerfully in their life. Forgive, heal, restore, do the work that only you can do. And for all of us, God, send us forward into our comeback. Help us experience your power and presence in our life this week in tangible ways. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. If you made a spiritual commitment in your life, I just would love to put a resource in your hands that we've created called the New Beginnings Journal. You can go by our New Beginnings area across our locations. We'd love to give you one of these. If you'd like to be baptized, we'd love to help you take that step. Or if you'd like to sign up for First Step, couldn't find a card, want more information, you can also just go to the New Beginnings area. Well, let's put our hands together now for our location pastors who are going to come out and close out our experience.
What an awesome message from Pastor Judd. Hey, if you prayed that prayer today, I just want to say congratulations and let you know it is the best decision you'll ever make. In fact, here at Central, we're committing to helping you take some of those next steps. We have this New Beginnings Journal that we would love to send you a digital copy of. Just visit centralonline.tv/welcome and make sure to check the box that says, I raise my hand, and we will send you this right away. Thank you so much for joining us this weekend. I hope you guys can join us next weekend for some Super Bowl fun. We have a great experience in store for you guys, and the weekend after that, we'll be kicking off a brand new series called Simply Blessed. You don't want to miss out on any of it. Be sure to share this experience and invite your friends and family to join you next weekend. But as you go through this week, remember to hang on to what Romans 8 says. If God is for us, who can be against us? Have a good one.